So I was offered my first opportunity to coach when I was 15 years old with my club coach, and I got to work with 3 and 4 year olds, which was basically glorified babysitting, but I really enjoyed it. And as I went along, I kept getting different opportunities to work with different age groups, and I just realized I had a passion for the sport, both on and off the field. And so I was able to work camps and clinics while I was in high school, and then I continued to coach with my college coaches at different camps and clinics that they held on and off campus. The big thing that led me to intercollegiate athletics was an opportunity in college with my former assistant coach, Greg Sheen. He let me work with his club team, and it was a group of young women who all went big time Division I. And to see that level in the different techniques to coaching, because obviously I'd been working with a lot of young kids at that point, I realized I wanted to get better and get into a higher level of coaching. So over time, I've worked with young kids, old kids, men and women in college, youth kids, different clubs, and I really found that I love the level at which intercollegiate athletes compete, but I also love the bond that you can build with your players. And I think it's way more about life than it is about soccer. And so when I was in Massachusetts, I had an opportunity to be with the same team for 3 years, which is the longest I've had at this point. And I'm really good friends with not only my mentor, Todd Dittmore, who I worked with there, but also a lot of the players that I had for those 3 years that I still communicate with, that have memories of 2 of my kids being born there. So I really just like the big picture of intercollegiate athletics and the relationships that I've been able to build because of it. So it's only been a little over 15 months, and I'm sure people will be shocked to hear it is not our announcement into the NCAA tournament. It is actually our game against the University of Rochester, because coming into the season, I don't think our team or people had a lot of expectations for our team. And going into UAA, we were 10-0 in non-conference, and we had a remarkable non-conference season. We lost to NYU in double overtime, which was heartbreaking, and then we plummeted. We played horribly and got beat by both Brandeis and Emory. And in between the Emory game and the Rochester game, we just had a really good team meeting, and we held ourselves to a different standard. And when we came out and we were able to turn around our UAA season and beat Rochester that day, it gave our team confidence, and it proved to them that everything they've done in preseason and non-conference was important, and that it meant something about them as a program. And then we went on to beat Chicago, ranked 10th in the country, and we went to double overtime with WashU right after that, who was number 3 in the country. So that turning point and that ability for our team to really believe in themselves and change the season for the better at a pivotal moment was super important. I think it was very telling about our team and the players within it. There are so many, it's hard to name one. I would say the 2 that really put me on the path to coaching. One is my former club coach, Dennis Vine. I didn't start playing really competitive club as people know it today until I was a sophomore in high school. And that year going into my junior year is when I started coaching for him with camps and clinics. And that really started me on the coaching path. It allowed me to see the game from the other side of the ball, which was really cool. And then, as I mentioned earlier, when I got to work with that higher level club team with Greg in college, it showed me both ends of the spectrum, the 3 and 4 year olds who were babysitting, and then these elite level Division I caliber players. And I just realized I had this huge passion for it. I wanted to spend all of my time coaching. And even though I've had millions of full-time jobs in between Dennis and Greg's influence on my coaching, it's just led me to where I am today to keep it in my life. Sports growing up for me, totally different. I played every sport under the moon, for as long as I could until they started to clash too much. But I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. In terms of the recruiting process, I was able to go on all 5 of my official visits in the fall of my senior year before committing to a program. And now, players that are going to major Division I programs are committing as freshmen and sophomores, whether it's legal or not. So it's happening way, way too early. And I think kids are specializing really early now. I ran track and played basketball and played volleyball through 8th and 9th grade. And I ran track all through high school. And it's just so much more difficult to do that now because you're expected to specialize to be really good at something. I don't think that's necessary, but that's kind of what's changed. So I miss having kids that have played 5, 6, 7 different sports throughout their life. I think Watching the 99ers win the World Cup was very influential in just my love of the game and starting to watch soccer more specifically. I didn't do a lot of that up until those women created that platform for women's sports in general. So watching that game was huge. But the most memorable was actually the 2010 World Cup. I was in Spain when Spain played Germany in the semifinals. And even though I wasn't in a stadium because it was being held in South Africa, they had these giant big screens set up right outside of Barcelona's stadium. And there were hundreds of thousands of people out there just celebrating the sport and watching the game. And you don't see that as much in the United States. So I think that was the most memorable event I've been at. I tell my players I'm an open book. So if you ask me a question, I'll tell you. I think they'd be shocked to know that I actually have extremely curly hair. And it doesn't seem that way, but if you look at my kids, you know that they have it, but that's what my hair used to look like growing up. And then I just straightened it and heated it to death. So it is what it is today.